I now wanted to turn actually to our, I would say, international partners, directly starting with the African context. I wanted to turn to Mr. Ouattara and basically ask you, what is on the other side, basically, of the spectrum, the perception, how has cooperation with Europe basically contributed to achieving the objectives set forth by the African Union Commissions or the different African countries?
Yeah, first of all, on behalf of the African Union Commission, we would like to thank the organizers for inviting us to be part of this discussion. In a nutshell, in one sentence, I would say it is very positive. Why? The cooperation with Europe is at different levels, at the national levels, at the regional level, and also at the continental level. In all these aspects, it is positive. I will give you 3-4 examples quickly. At the policy, institutional, and regulatory level, I would say, thanks to the collaboration with Europe in space matters, we, African Union Commission, succeeded in creating a kind of interest at the politicians' level. That brought us to the development of the African space policy and strategy. Secondly, and that is a good news for us, yesterday, the hosting agreement of the African Space Agency has been signed between the African Union Commission and the Arab Republic of Egypt in Cairo. Everything is in place, let's move on. That is thanks to the collaboration with the Europeans through several programs that we succeeded in creating the awareness at the decision makers level. Let's move quickly to the data and infrastructure. Today, Africans have more access to data thanks to institutions like European Space Agency, EUMETSAT, GRC, so on. And with the strong political and strategic support and funding support from the European Commission, we have to acknowledge that and we have to say thanks for that. Let's go to the service development. GMS in Africa, I have the privilege to coordinate this program, which is using Earth observation for service development to support sustainable development. I would say, thanks to this program, we have empowered Africans, University of Ghana leading a consortium of 15 countries to support the fishermen. There was a lot of death of fishermen in Ghana, for example. Thanks to the Copernicus data we've used to inform this community, and I can go to the details. Secondly, in Congo, the SICOS used the Copernicus data to inform the captains of boats on the navigability on the Congo River. Congo River is 80% of the economic transactions in Central Africa. So on and so on. Let's talk about the methodology. Let's talk about other things. EUMETSAT is very involved in that. Now coming to the training. Thanks to the collaboration with Europe, more than 20,000 over the last 20 years. GMS alone, we have more than 5,000 young Africans trained. That is very important in terms of capacity building. If we go now to the knowledge transfer, the cross-fertilization, thanks to that collaboration, for once, African Union Commission is translating its policy objective, which is the African integration. GMS in Africa is bringing several institutions from several countries to work on cross-cutting matters, flooding, wetland, etc. That is very important to underline here. In terms of awareness, we have to continue, that's true, but we will say, in a nutshell, the collaboration with Europe is very positive. Let's continue building on the success stories.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy actually to see such a positive assessment. You also brought to the fore, many concrete examples, that show, that we're not just discussing for the sake cooperation for the sake of cooperation, but how cooperation can actually be really beneficial, in terms of concrete deliveries. But let's try to put things in perspective, because I think we are all curious to know on the European side, where does Europe stand and how does it perform in comparison to the other cooperation partners of Africa, basically. And you already pointed out a couple of recommendations, on how this cooperation could be better structured, in achieving the objectives, of the African Union Commissions or the different African countries,
Yeah.
There was a relative, sort of relative positioning of our collaboration.
Yeah, in fact, you know, when you want to compare, it means that we have the same benchmark. For now, Europe has been the biggest space partners for Africa. Therefore, today we cannot compare them to others. But it is clear that, and I know where your question is coming from, Africa today is of interest for many other nations and continents. Let be it. We, African Union Commission, our position is to empower and strengthen African citizens. That is our mandate. Whomever comes to us, we sit down and we look at it. But we don't want to replicate and duplicate. We have to build with, on the success stories with Europe. And that is very critical and important for us. Secondly, it is very important to say that in the new space era, all is affordable for Africa. You know, usually people are talking about money. There is no money, there is no money. No, the issue in Africa, it is not about money. It is about strategically addressing the African needs. Secondly, we want all the world to consider the new paradigms in Africa. Europe, United States, Canada, Asia, they have to change now the way they are doing business with Africa. Space, it is not international aid. Space is about business. Business supporting international aid, yes. Business supporting agriculture, yes. Business supporting that, yes. But in Africa, it is about opportunities, huge natural resources to manage. Digitalization, you were talking, madam. Secondly, more than 1 billion inhabitants. In terms of satellite telecommunication, in terms of sat-nav, you know, it is a market. In terms of security, what is happening in Africa is touching Europe. Let's work together to look at, in terms of terrorism, in terms of all kinds of, you know, threats coming to Europe or to Africa, we have, and space can contribute a lot, and space has demonstrated that. Let's transform that to opportunities to market. This is my last point, if you allow me. Very last point, the private sector and the academia. Africa has to build its capacity in terms of partnership, private sector, public. We have the model of Europe. We have models somewhere else. Let's work together to adapt what can be adapted and to increase and to develop the private sector corpus and also the research and development and training corpus through academia. Thank you very much.